Elon Musk recently did an interview with Fox News, an extended interview with Fox News. I haven't checked it out yet, but I definitely wanted to review it with you guys, so I held off. I seen it come across my timeline yesterday, but he was basically breaking down, and he was saying why people like the Jasmine Crockett's, the AOCs, the Bernie Sanders, the Elizabeth Warrens, and so on and so forth, why Democrats do not want the fraud, waste, and abuse turned off, and why they're trying to stop him before he gets to certain organizations, before he goes through with a fine-tooth comb and a scalpel to trim out all of the fat, waste, and abuse, and before he finds certain things inside of what's going on in our government institutions. So this is Elon Musk. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. This is what he had to say on Fox in his interview.
All right, we welcome to the show and a special interview with Mr. Elon Musk, who, of course, is famed Trump advisor, CEO of Tesla, SpaceX, chair of X Corp. Elon, thank you for doing this. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
I want to begin, but among other things, everyone's attacking you for your position. What are you doing in the government? There was a cyber attack on X today, which shut it down and may have been foreign sourced.
Yes.
It's a big story. You want to give us a moment on that?
Well, we're not sure exactly what happened, but there was a massive cyber attack to try to bring down the X system with IP addresses originating in the Ukraine area. So that.
Your suspicion is the website, is the internet up? Is it up yet?
It's up, yeah.
It's up yet. Okay, good. But I just was looking back. Let me see if I get this right. They're setting fire to various Tesla charging stations near Boston. Shots were fired at a Tesla dealership in Oregon. Various nonviolent.
Shots fired, not a metaphor.
Shots fired, yes. Downtown
He
New
don't
York,
even care. He ain't tripping.
marching against the Tesla showroom. Your stock is way down. You've been criticized left and right.
But look on the bright side.
I mean, why are you doing this?
Always look on the bright side of life.
Yes, I'm an optimist.
Yeah. He ain't even tripping about it.
But besides that,
Yes, I mean,
how's your day?
what motivates you to do this?
Was the opera good?
It's tough sledding.
Yeah, it is tough sledding. But I think we're doing the right thing here. There's been a tremendous amount of waste and fraud in the government. When you're part of the government, you saw a lot of that, and there's been. If you look at the Inspector General reports and the Government Accountability Office, there have been many audits that have pointed out that there's a tremendous amount of waste and fraud in the government. In fact, there was a report issued by the GAO, the Government Accountability Office, last year. So during the Biden administration, which estimated the federal government fraud to be $500 billion. So just to be clear, that's not a Trump administration thing, that's a Biden administration thing. So what we're trying to do is get that number down to a much smaller figure, save money for the American taxpayer, stop money being spent on things that I think very few taxpayers would agree make sense. Transgender animal surgeries, or why are we spending money? Why are American tax dollars being spent on this? The president's gone through a long list of absurd things. Why are the 20 million people who are definitely dead marked as alive in the Social Security database? Why were hundreds of millions of dollars of Small Business Administration loans were given out to people aged 11 and under, according to the Social Security? I mean, these must be some very enterprising 8-year-olds,
So think about this for a second. This literally flies in the face, and he doesn't even have to say anything. Anybody with a brain, anybody with a calculator, anybody with an iPhone, anybody that understands Elon Musk's wealth knows that he doesn't have any cash. Can measure it, obviously, with whatever his net worth is. If he have hundreds of billions of dollars in net worth, right? And you have Bernie Sanders, who's a millionaire, and people like him and Elizabeth Warren and the Nancy Pelosi's sitting there saying, oh my God, we need to stop Musk because what he's doing is he's gutting Social Security, which it's not. He's removing people from there that's getting payments that's not authorized. Oh my God, he's going through all of these different departments and all of this stuff. He just wants to enrich himself even more. Well, I think that Musk understands, similar to what Trump understood when he ran for president of the United States of America, that the minute that he takes a position, which he could have just kept selling cars and get richer and eventually become a trillionaire and all of this stuff, right? But Musk understands that whatever it is that he would be able to make from the federal government would pale in comparison to the amount of money that he loses in Tesla's stock price if half of the country starts protesting against you and the sentiment of your company is down in the drain, or it goes lower than what it's supposed to be because you as a CEO actually took a position. So if he loses $100 billion in net worth because the valuation of what he is basically tied up in the equity that he has in Tesla and whatever else companies, there is no $1 billion contract that can make up for $100 billion in losses as far as the equity or the amount of what your net worth is based off of the equity that you have inside of Tesla. He's literally losing money by going through the federal government to make sure that we are not going to be insolvent and we don't go bankrupt as a country. There is no greater sacrifice that you can make for your country than what he's making right now. It's like throwing money away in order to save you pennies, in order to save you as an individual, $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 a year. He's throwing away money and he's making sure that he's doing the thing that's in the best interest of the federal government. Now, what other sacrifice can you think of that's greater than that? Kenya says, duh, he didn't see it coming. So you think that a person that was able to start some of the most prolific countries, prolific companies, and some of the greatest things that's created American jobs and started some of these things from scratch, has had multiple different successes, can't foresee half of the country hating him? Are y'all, come on, y'all. Wake up. The dude is probably smarter than all of us in this room combined, to be honest. Like, if we just gonna be transparent. You telling me that he can't see it coming, that this is a surprise, that he's being outthought by Jasmine Crockett and AOC, a waitress? Are you telling me that he doesn't know what was going to happen and he made the sacrifice and he's being outchessed by these dunce people that are lifetime politicians that couldn't even make it without getting you subsidized off of your taxpayer dollars? Jesus Christ. Okay. All right. You're right. You got it.
Pretty strong 150-year-olds.
Yes, exactly. As the president said, we have an enormous number of people marked as alive who are 160. He didn't know the country was that healthy.
Yes. So demystify this. How do you do it? Okay. How big is your team?
Yeah.
Where'd you recruit most of them from? And what is it that makes you choose, the Treasury or Social Security or USAID? How does it work? Let the public know, please.
Right. Well, we just basically follow the money. We look at the president's executive orders, and we also just follow the money. So we started looking closely at USAID because they were completely violating the president's executive orders to suspend foreign aid, what's called foreign aid, but in our view is a lot of corruption. So what we saw there is just a tremendous amount of money being sent to non-governmental organizations. But actually, this, by the way, is I think one of the biggest sources of fraud in the world is government-funded non-governmental organizations. This is a gigantic fraud loophole where the government can give money to an NGO and then there are no controls over that NGO. So they've given billions of dollars, in fact, we estimate tens of billions of dollars to NGOs that are essentially scams. And
By the way,
trying to put a stop to that. You know, so
I don't want to interrupt, but Secretary of State Rubio has just come out. I think he tweeted today. He has accepted over 80% of your recommendations to shut down in USAID.
Right.
So your review and analysis was spot on.
Yes. So I think when people criticize, say, what DOGE is doing, we say, well, which part specifically? Because we put all of the actions of the DOGE team on the doge.gov website and on the DOGE handle on X. So we post the receipts. So it's like this action has been taken, this action has been taken. So when we get criticism, we say, like, of what? Which line do you disagree with? Like which cost saving do you disagree?
So Nigel, that's not enough. So you don't think creating a whole website that allows for transparency, which we didn't have any transparency with the Biden administration. We've never had this level of transparency before. So you want it in a spreadsheet, because you can go to the DOGE website literally and find out exactly what they're saying that they need to cut and all of that. But you want it in an Excel spreadsheet. You want it in a pivot table. Is that what you would prefer to have it? We need to do it at a higher level. He's going in and he's posting the screenshots, the receipts. He's speaking about it. He's allowing for people to be able to grill him. They're the most transparent organization ever. And you think we need to do it at a higher level. Never mind all of the fraud, waste, and abuse. We're not going to hold the people that's been stealing accountable. We're going to hold the person accountable that's finding the theft. Think about what you're saying right now. We're not holding the thieves accountable. We're holding the person that's finding the theft, and how he's finding it, we don't like the way he's doing it. Gotcha. Got it.
Agree with. And then people usually can't think of any.
No.
So
you said the average American still doesn't see as fraud. Well, the average American doesn't even vote. The average American doesn't even know the difference between a liberal and a conservative. The average American don't even know why they're Democrat or they're Republican. The average American can't even choose a good baby mama or a baby daddy, or know that you got to have. They'll argue me down about having children out of wedlock. Did you see the panel last night and how they were operating? Did you see the chaos? That's the average American. I would say that some of those were above average Americans as far as their ability to be able to communicate and think. The average American is killing 5-year-olds in Dallas and leaving their IED in the car with their baby mamas, from their baby mama that they dropped off at work the day before.
Transparent line by line.
It's transparent line by line.
Which is quite remarkable.
Right. And so, and then with respect to the Treasury, for example, the two main recommendations we suggested, which have now been implemented, was that any payments going out of the Treasury, especially the Treasury's main payment computer, which is called PAM, things like a payments account manager or something like that, but it's like almost $5 trillion a year, so about $1 billion an hour, that the payments be coded with the congressional appropriation, and that there be an explanation for the payment. Very basic stuff. And just doing that, we estimate will save $100 billion a year.
You're not really, let me see if I get this right, particularly with Social Security, you're not really changing policy.
No, yes.
You're auditing the fiscal mechanisms to make sure that, from point A gets to point B, and that's where it's supposed to get to. In some cases, it doesn't get there, or in some cases, it may go over there. But that's it's not a policy exercise. You're not changing laws. You're just doing what any business would do in a profit and loss audit.
I think we're really what we're adding here is caring and competence. And there's a massive amount of fraud of basically people submitting Social Security numbers for Social Security benefits, unemployment, Small Business Administration loans, and medical, where those are fake Social Security numbers, or they've stolen somebody else's Social Security number, and we're trying to put a stop to all of that. And that's the number which is estimated to be on the order of 10% of federal expenditures, which is half a trillion dollars.
It's a huge number.
Yeah.
You're working with the agency heads. You're working with the cabinet secretaries.
Yes.
I saw Howard Lutnick was on TV yesterday saying you were partnering with them. Is that fair?
Yeah, what we do is in consultation with the cabinet secretaries and with their departments. So we're really trying to be we'll refer to ourselves as tech support.
Mm-hmm.
We're really helping the department get a handle on things, because what actually happens here is you've got this sort of vast federal bureaucracy, and then you've got a very thin layer on top of the politically appointed officials. And what tends to happen is that the bureaucracy, frankly, is in control. And they largely ignore the politically appointed people.
Why should the bureaucracy?
I'm sure you must have seen that.
I've lived with this twice. I worked for Reagan many years ago, and I worked for Trump in the first term.
Yeah.
It's like a permanent bureaucracy. I might add, it's a permanently liberal bureaucracy.
Yes, very much so.
And it doesn't. It's not a bureaucracy that necessarily.
Okay, Raekwon Mingledolf. Let me ask you a question, because I see all of y'all complaining. And you know what's so funny? Especially for you black people, all right? I see black people complaining the most about Elon Musk. What do you propose happens in its place? Because y'all wasn't asking for audits. You never cared about where your taxpayer dollars was going. I had a guy that stopped me today. He was my valet. He said, Anton, where do you think all of our tax money is going? He was a black guy. He said, because, my mother, she over there in Puerto Rico, and she said that they don't pay the type of taxes that we pay over here in the United States of America. They don't have all of that. Now, I don't know how true that is. This is what he said to me as I was getting my car in order to come over to the studio so I can do the Millionaire Morning Show today. What do you guys propose happen in its place? Because the one thing I know about black people is that they complain and complain and they complain about something that doesn't even benefit them. And that's a normalcy in our culture. Like, for example, you guys complain about DEI. What you don't know is that DEI never benefited you. It only mostly benefited white women. So now it's almost like you're protesting to ensure that government programs and taxes go to support and subsidize white women getting positions based off of going to college and getting degrees that they didn't need, that didn't add any value into society. So now that we know that you're protesting for something that doesn't benefit you, what do you propose happens in its place? Do you want us to just keep the system exactly like it is, and we don't want any transparency? We don't want any audits. You don't want audits. You don't want to know where your taxpayer dollars are going. You don't care about anything. You don't really care about what's going on. You want us to continue to fund things exactly the way it is and see what happens and just roll the dice and see how that's going to affect your children and your grandchildren and your grandchildren's children? What do you propose? Because I'm trying to understand what y'all want. What do you want? All of the people that I see complain the most, they have no solutions. They have no solutions. They have no propositions, no solutions. All they wanted from Kamala Harris is to commute their weed sentence on a federal level. What do you want? What do you want? What do you want?
Necessarily enforces or implements presidential policy.
They don't. In fact, they try their best to thwart presidential policy. So the president is the elected representative of the people. And if the president cannot get things implemented as a reflection of the will of the people, then what we have is not a democracy, we have a bureaucracy. We have rule of the bureau, not rule of the people. And that's what we're trying to defeat here is the bureaucracy and have rule of the people. And as you mentioned, the bureaucracy is overwhelmingly Democrat. So Washington, D.C. was 92.5%, I believe, voted for Kamala. So this is overwhelmingly a deep blue situation.
How do you pick your next targeted agency or department?
Well, we're trying to act broadly across all departments, so it's not just one department at a time.
Are you in all of them now? All of them?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yes. Oh.
We're trying to make the government more efficient across the board. So yeah.
How big's your team?
We're a little over 100 at this point. We're
100.
Get to 200.
You're going to get to 200.
Yeah.
Okay. And you're recruiting from where? More or less.
Basically, it's software people, information security software people, and finance. It's basically, yeah, finance and technology. I mean, frankly, I can't believe I'm here doing this. It's kind of bizarre. But, I kind of think that we've got this enormous federal budget deficit, and it's a $2 trillion deficit. It keeps growing. Our interest payments are higher than.
Hey, did you hear what he just said? He just had a come to Jesus moment. He literally just had a come to Jesus moment. He said, because the way that I translated it, because he's answering questions, and again, you never seen the Biden administration or anybody behind the scenes actually come forward and say, hey, this is what we're doing, and it's okay for you to ask me questions. Whatever it is that you ask me is cool. It's no pre-recorded questions, or you don't have to tell me what you're going to ask me. Just ask me whatever it is that you want. And he just had a come to Jesus moment. He was like, I can't even believe that I'm doing this. I don't have to be here. I can't even believe that I'm doing you a service. I'm the richest man in the world. I can go off and ride into the sunset, run X, run SpaceX, run Neuralink, run Tesla, and just get richer and richer and be able to chill. And I don't have to be involved in this. No, either way, it don't matter who become president. I could just go get richer. He just had a literal, man, I don't even know why I'm doing this. I'm sitting here making myself accountable for people for what?
Our Defense Department budget. That's I think was the real wake-up call for me, was looking at seeing that the interest payments to national debt exceeded the Defense Department budget. And that was only growing over time, which meant if we didn't do something about this,
Desiree, you're right.
There won't be any money for anything. We'll just be servicing debt.
And you know how to read an income statement, and you know how to read a balance sheet. You've had some business experience. I'm kidding, but
yeah,
you know about this stuff.
Yeah, I mean, really, I just don't want America to go bankrupt.
So it's a call to action. You're hearing a call to action.
Yeah.
You giving up your other stuff? I mean, how are you running your other businesses?
With great difficulty. Yeah, I mean.
But there's no turning back, you're saying.
I'm just here trying to make government more efficient, eliminate waste and fraud, and so far we're making good progress, actually. So our savings at this point exceed $4 billion a day. Mm-hmm. So it's very significant.
You think you'll wind up getting to $1 trillion?
Yeah.
Of savings?
I mean, unless we're stopped, we will get to $1 trillion of savings.
And that stuff can be translated. I mean, we've been talking. We had Russell Vogt, the OMB director, on earlier, through very rescission authority, impoundment authority. But I believe you said it earlier. It's an audit that will not gather dust on shelves. This is actually going to wind up with real savings, bend the spending baseline down.
Yeah. There've been many good audits, like I said, done by inspector generals and by Government Accountability Office, and they just haven't been implemented. Nothing's been done. I think the GAO identified that there were 17 million dead people in the Social Security database several years ago. It's now 20 million, but nobody did anything about it. I think you can sort of look at this as a complaint minimization optimization. So basically, if the government sends money out to, whether it's wasteful or fraudulent, nobody complains if they receive money, but they do complain if they don't receive money. And the people that complain the loudest are the ones receiving the fraudulent money.
And you're on it.
Yeah. So the goal here is let's not have America go bankrupt with waste and fraud. So that's what I'm here for, and we're making good progress.
Yes, you are. You're going to go another year?
Yeah, I think so.
Final report, middle of next year?
Well, we're just getting things done as opposed to writing a report. Like say, reports don't mean anything. You got to actually take action.
Yes.
So the waste report in entitlement spending, which is which is most of the federal spending is entitlements. So that's like the big one to eliminate, because that's the sort of $500 billion, maybe $700 billion a year. That is also a mechanism by which the Democrats attract and retain illegal immigrants by essentially paying them to come here, and then turning them into voters.
Yes.
So this is why the Democrats are so upset about the situation.
Let me rewind that real quick.
Essentially paying them. That is also a mechanism by which the Democrats attract and retain illegal immigrants by essentially paying them to come here, and then turning them into voters.
Yes.
He basically just told y'all the blueprint for how Democrats even remotely come close to staying in power in the first place. He's saying that, listen, they keep a farm of people because, again, and I told y'all this a long time ago, shout out to Elon Musk. He said, listen, this is what happens from the Democrats, on the Democrat side. And I personally have never heard somebody say, hey, listen, I am switching over to being liberal. I've never heard that in my entire life. I'm not saying that it doesn't happen. I'm telling you that this is the blueprint. Democrats are always looking for new people to join the ranks. Whether that be in indoctrination camps that we call our universities now, that is no longer higher learning institutions, they are indoctrination camps. Whether that be from illegal migrants coming over into this country, or that is coming from black people that continues to have more children and then making sure that their children become a part of the 92 and 78%, 92% of people that voted for Democrats. I always hear people say, I am switching over to being conservative. I used to be a Democrat, or now that I got older, I am thinking differently because I have too much information not to make the right decision. As you age older, it is a trend for people, not of the black community, sometimes of the black community, to naturally evolve and transition into being conservative. They know more, they learn more, they're looking to protect their assets, they realize that they're taken advantage of, so on and so forth. Democrats want to stay in power. The only way that they can do so is to recruit new people to join the Democratic Party, because it's not natural for you to become a liberal over time. It is natural for you to become more conservative as you get older and wiser. And so they're always recruiting. So basically what Elon Musk is doing is saying, hey, they went on a recruiting drive, and that's one of the reasons why they decided to forego you paying all of these people, subsidizing these people to come over into the United States of America. We're going to leave birthright citizenship in place that was made for American descendants of slaves or African descendants of slaves. We're leaving that in so that we can then justify people having children here. We're going to leave in the whole Dreamers program, and we're going to allow for these people to eventually become citizens, which would also feed into them ultimately becoming Democrats, because they owe us as a result of bringing them here into this country.